Hello everybody, Big Chonis here. Thank you for joining me. Just wanted to do a update here on YouTube. It is Wednesday, November 6th. Remember, you please hit that follow, subscribe, and like button. If you enjoy my content, over to follow me on Twitter. I am also at Big Chonis. You guys can also find my affiliate codes in the information area of this. I've been doing some leverage trading on Duodex. If you are also in need of a VPN, you can find my affiliate code there as well. Always appreciate your support. I'm also part of the Flux Trading Group, fluxtradinggroup.com. Put a couple tweets out here today. I really like using the 1 hour Bollingers when they're very tight. Bitcoin likes to range in the sideways position here. And normally we do get these signals where I like to short when we do break the upper Bollinger and potentially long when we break the lower BB. This is when Bitcoin can be ranging. And as you can see, there were two very good opportunities here. Here was the good short to get into here, which did mark the local top here of the break of the upper Bollinger. And for now, this did mark the local bottom with this break of the lower Bollinger. Now, normally I like to do this effectively when the Bollingers are tight, but as you can see, this also does work in times of wide Bollinger bands where the break of the lower Bollinger on the 1 hour here was actually a very nice longing opportunity. I actually got a second chance here to do that on the follow-up hourly candle. And that basically was your low until Bitcoin was able to get above the upper Bollinger and wick out, signaling that short entry opportunity there. You can see now Bitcoin is just getting rejected on the middle Bollinger on the 1 hour chart. And folks, let's face it, Bitcoin, ever since we had this big break up over a week and a half ago, Bitcoin has been basically ranging pretty much sideways in a very tight, pattern here. I mean, just very tight, dead stick sideways here. With a price range of as high as $9,900 and low as about 9,000. Let's call it 8,950. So we basically have just under a 10% range here. But that was back in October. Since then, we've actually getting a lot tighter. And now our range has dropped to about 5% of Bitcoin price action range. And that's almost about $500 of up to low. And, that's not going to continue forever. There's definitely going to be a break of that. And listen, when Bitcoin has these mega moves here, it's not odd to assume that we're going to have some sideways price action consolidation, allowing a lot of those indicators that got way out of whack, that were way below the price action, especially on higher time frames, to catch up with that and allow the Bollinger Bands, on these higher time frames as well, that basically got very wide on this break here. You can see the 4 hour got very wide. Now it's getting very tight. Really has been tight for a while there. 6 hour as well, getting very tight here as well. 12 hour just coming together here after being extremely wide. And of course, our daily chart still significant width here in our Bitcoin price action from the middle Bollinger at least to the upper BB. That's where I wanted to start today. Middle Bollinger, $8,700 has yet to be tested. Ever since we were able to or failed to hold above the upper Bollinger on the daily chart, our upper BB still ranging at $10,100, still rising. We actually have all three lower, middle, and upper Bollingers are rising on the daily chart. We do like that. As you can see, when we broke down bearishly here, we were having all three of them in this basically down area here. Now we have them on an upward angle, and we have our volume declining as well. We are still way under the 14 period average here. I just want to do a very quick run through in some of our indicators and oscillators. On balance volume still pretty much in line here with our price action, not seeing any bullish divergence just yet. RSI like a dead stick here around 58. Definitely have given back some of that momentum, and we are definitely still holding above this area of previous resistance. That is now acted as support, although not particularly yet back tested yet. And of course, keeping above 50 can be a very bullish, or at least a bullish market, RSI pattern here. So still holding pretty strong here in our stochastic. We really haven't given back any of this consolidation here, and still very strong 82. So the stochastic is still showing still that strength in the Bitcoin price action. The one indicator that's not been showing that strength, chalk and money flow, we're still putting in these lower highs. We actually did put in this lower low here on our bounce, and we were still below our zero line here. As you can see, there's our zero line right there. And we actually got that pretty nasty rejection when we did try and test it here. And so we're not really seeing the money flow come in here just yet, even though we were able to break out of this kind of temporary resistance, now turn support. We're still not really getting into any kind of a high gear here. And as you can see, our CMF pretty much not marked the top here of our Bitcoin price action, and has been putting in lower highs and lower lows ever since, and almost making this kind of parallel. Actually, I can see it now. Something like that there. We would once again regain middle channel support, which is good, but still that weakness continues. So our MACD, we definitely see we're putting in lower histograms. We are still in a bullish stance on our indicators. Both are above our zero line here. But, they've been rising and rising and rising. The Bitcoin price action really hasn't done bupkis. And we are getting a little closer, I'd say, to kind of this range here of support, resistance, and getting into that resistance area here. So there is some historic resistance mapped out in kind of the range we're seeing, and we can begin to see the rollover beginning of our MACD here. Let me just make this a little bigger so you all can see what's going on with these indicators here. And we definitely do have that rollover beginning. After being very wide here, they are getting a lot tighter. TDI, this is a kind of a unique indicator I like to use here. Basically involves moving averages amongst a specific Bollinger Band profile. And again, times of extreme breaking of the upper BB here, and here are very keen to mark tops. We do have an upward trajectory, though, of our Bollinger here, and we are still very tight here in our overall price action. So no major signal on there just yet. We are still above, notable moving averages on this higher time frame here. Again, still haven't touched that EMA 12, $9,100. Still holding bull crosses, 12 hour, and the 6 hour just barely. 4 hour though is looking a little peaky, like we're just there though. And of course, on higher time frames above that, we've actually yet to do that bullish cross. And this is interesting to me. I actually do like to see these get rejected initially. Look at the 2-day, the 3-day, still haven't yet to even test that cross possibility here. What else can we look at here? So those are basically our stances of our moving averages, our EMAs, still holding price action above. Now, all right, so 3-day, okay, this is a 3-day chart here. We're getting this rejection here on the MA50. The 2-day, same thing, we're getting this tight rejection, MA50, MA100 support. And then the daily has been very interesting here, where the 100 has been some pretty stiff resistance on multiple daily candles, even though the MA200 is still holding support. And we are still in that, I'm kind of still call it a death cross, MA50 below MA200. Now, you remember, we did this, right? Back in our 2018 consolidation here. Here's our death cross, okay? The breakdown happened kind of before the death cross. We had a very nice bounce after the death cross, and that did mark our local high there of May, and Bitcoin kept on putting in lower lows here. So this was a lower low after that breakout of Bitcoin price action. That breakout was a 50% move in Bitcoin price action. So we had a 50% move in Bitcoin price action after this death cross, followed by a lower low in price action. So what happened here? We had this breakdown before the death cross, kind of right at it. We had this move, 43% move in Bitcoin price action, kind of similar. And we haven't really had the continuation of this move just yet. But if history repeats, this is the scenario we're looking at, where there could be one more higher high to suck in some longs there, and then the market just dumps on them. So I'm actually looking to counter trade potentially whichever move on price action Bitcoin happens here. If we do break higher and we get above our MA 100 and close above it on some volume here, I'd be considering shorts, in I don't know where yet. Depends how we get there, but I'm looking for any kind of a break up as potential opportunity to short this market. Something like this, and then boom. Now if we do the breakdown, maybe we can find support on the MA50 on the daily chart. Okay, remember this was where are we here? MA50 did mark our last top here before we fell off a cliff here, and then something like that. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about this here. I'm not going to chase along if Bitcoin starts to break out, and I'm going to be patient in my short. I'm not going to chase a short or feel complacent in a short if Bitcoin does break down. And listen, I'm a leverage trader. I like to use high leverage. It's not for everybody. And because of that, I have to execute proper risk management. So the biggest thing I always say, got to use a stop loss every trade. I don't care how confident you are. I don't care how cocky you are. Use stop loss. I prefer to use high leverage with a very tight stop loss. I'm prepared to lose a little bit in a trade if so be it. I would chalk it up to just a bad entry, a bad call. But once I'm able to get into the money, into profit, begin to move my stops higher and bring them into more or less break even or into profit if the price action allows, and look at these as opportunities, because in this sideways price action, there's been great scalping opportunities. I know you think about it like, a move here, a 4% move, that's $400 per Bitcoin leveraged. Okay, so with higher leverage, take out a trade there, 3, 4, 5 Bitcoin potentially. That's basically $400 per $100 move. $400 per Bitcoin leverage potentially. Those are great trades that add up, but you can't keep the bias of just that short set that we're going to bring this all the way to the bottom of Bitcoin. You then have to think about this. Okay, we're now oversold, and now maybe there's an opportunity on the long end. So these are shorts followed by longs, followed by shorts, followed by longs, followed by shorts. A little long here. We're getting tight. We're getting tight. This can only go sideways for so long. And of course, even when you have a bias of being short or long in your trade, you always get these crazy wicks in Bitcoin. And these are opportunity wicks. There's two ways you can look at this. If you were long here, you probably got stopped out of your trade. Okay. If you were looking for longs and maybe you missed this up thrust here, Bitcoin kind of gave you another opportunity. And if you were loading shorts here on this tweezer on the 30-minute, then this was a great sell. But you had to get out when you're in a very good profit there. When quick profit presents itself, and normally Bitcoin, if it drops within a couple $100 in 30-minute candle, or a 15-minute candle here, which this was. Those don't hold very long. So this was a very quick scalp potential on both directions. And as a leverage trader, these are the things that I specifically look for and wait for. Patience is essential in this game. And I use my oscillators. I use my oscillators to determine when are good entries and exits, what potentially could be overbought on lower time frames, with the stochastic 15-minute, not just on the upper levels here, but seeing this pattern. I look for patterns, 1, 2, this is the third rise above. We had a similar pattern here last night, early in the day, and the third rollover here of this move was a great shorting opportunity, and actually at the time did mark that local high. Now we're putting in kind of a similar pattern here, right? Top of triangle, we're over our area here. I have adjusted my stochastic lines here to 90-10. Defaults are 80-20. I do like the 90-10 because it shows a little more conservatism that I'm going to wait to consider a short until both of our indicators are in our top line here. And I would wait to consider a long until both our indicators essentially are in our lower area. The more extreme they are, potentially the better entry that can be. So just based on this little 15-minute time frame here, and based on these indicators here, I'd be considering a short more than a long in this area here, even though Bitcoin has been kind of rising higher here. But I would, I'm patient here, see where this can take us. Maybe scale in here, but I would not be looking necessarily for longs in this kind of a breakout here. I'd be looking for a short opportunity just because of my particular, things that I like to look at. Now, there are always better entries than others. When the RSI is way up here, this I would say this. Wow, this is a great overbought opportunity here. This is potentially a very good shorting opportunity. And look at that. That was literally marked their high here, almost $9,600. So having the RSI above 80 with our stochastic here above 90, those confluence are very good signals on the short side. And then the reverse can be true as well. We're down here. Here's our RSI just breaking through 20 here. I've also changed these to 80-20 versus 70-30. And once again, there's our stochastic on the 15, completely bottomed out. Two of these combined present a good longing opportunity potentially. So these are the things that I like to look at on lower time frames from a scalping perspective, even though I will always keep much higher time frames in mind. Weekly chart here, okay, halfway through the week. We're still kind of flagging here. Almost seems like we could be possibly, this is super early, but possibly putting in some sort of another descending triangle, but it still could be a pennant, a very nice bullish pennant potentially here, but that's still yet to be seen. Lower time frames, oscillators weren't that bad. There's our OBV weekly still hanging in there. Kind of a rejection here, really kind of that backtest rejection, but still RSI on the weekly above 50, not terrible. We still have a very, a rising stochastic here, and that's notable. MACD still kind of bearish, but definitely rising here, and we're coming back into our zone here of support. So higher time frames definitely set your bias. Lower time frames you can use to trade with. I like lower time frame, higher leverage. But you can kind of see this as it is, where the history of Bitcoin here, the long history of these weekly candles define the overall trend, but within that overall trend, there's all sorts of opportunities to make certain decisions. And one of those decisions is to use our indicators properly. And look at that. There was my short talking about that, because we have my Stoke right where I like to short it, and especially on this triple angle here, where we're putting in this kind of rising triangle. So that's kind of what I've been looking for here. As I said, I'm looking for a good short opportunity here because of this particular pattern. And I like to short into strength. I like to buy into weakness. So this candle here would be a good buying opportunity. These dips here, and then these thrusts here that seem like we're breaking up bullish. And it being in this trade here, if I was to be in it, when I said I would want to enter in here, the high 3840s, it's still early in the trade, but at least I know that I can set my stop super tight. I like my entry, okay, and then we see what happens. If Bitcoin steeps, drops more, I move my stop basically above my break even, hopefully into profit, pay the fees, with that, and then continue to move my stop lower and lower to basically protect my profits here. Um, that's kind of just how I like to trade. But again, this is not for everybody. To each his own. And this has been taking me years to figure out my particular style of trading. Everybody has to determine their own style based on their own risk management. Okay, is this money you can use to trade with? Do you have to use it to pay rent the next month, pay your bills, or is money that you can actually put into play and really try and keep your emotions out of your decisions? Guys, if you like my content, please hit that thumbs up button. Please remember to hit my affiliate codes if you have any interest in trading leverage trading. Dudex.com/Big Chonis. If you are in need of a VPN as well, you can see that affiliate code in the comments. Also, remember to follow me at the fluxtradinggroup.com. Love to see you over there in our private Discord group. I do talk about some of the trades I make in my scalps on Duodex. And thank you for joining me. I'll try and do more of these public YouTube shows more often. I've just been extremely busy over the past few weeks here, but I'm hoping that things in my life will settle down as we get into the mid to end part of this month, and I can be a lot more active, providing you guys with the content that I love to give you. So until next time, this is Big Chonis. Thank you so much for joining me. Hit that thumbs up, tell your friends, make the follow me on Twitter. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.